Laurel, I want to circle back to one thing. So when you're embarking on inviting a high-level stranger out for lunch or coffee, do you ask them to be your mentor? How do you handle that relationship when there is a power difference?
Okay, so one of the things I do want to get across to all of you is power imbalances. You cannot allow there to be a power imbalance between you and any other person. I don't care if you've been out of work for 20 years. I don't care if you're feeling, that your skills aren't up to par, or, that this person is so powerful and it just makes your knees want to shake. Everybody rather, is human. Everybody. Mm-hmm. And everybody has faults and flaws and frustrations and things they've been through, and they don't see you as that. They don't see you as the way that you see yourself. They see you as just another person. And as I said before, if they are arrogant, as so many people in the media are, and so many people in power are, just ignore it. Just steel yourself, have the confidence, and portray yourself as an equal to them. It's always important to portray yourself as an equal, whether you are or not. Even if you're meeting a movie star, I don't care. You never want to show a power imbalance, because what that does is make people uncomfortable. Power imbalances make people feel uncomfortable. Realize that. It makes you uncomfortable to approach the person, and it makes them uncomfortable to react. It's always weird. So I would say go in with your best foot forward and make your tone that of somebody who's at their level. So you have to kind of do a mind control thing with yourself, and just imagine, if I were the CEO of a company, how would I be talking to this CEO of a company that I want to work for? How would I be approaching them? If I were at their same level and had done exactly what they had done, how would I be speaking to them, right? This happens to me. I occasionally will meet some really exciting, I met Chris, the guy from Law and Order. I forget his name.
No.
No, a different one.
I'm like the worst TV reference person.
But yeah, me too. But I met this movie star who I actually knew, because I don't know any movie stars, and I ran into him at a party, and I was like, ah. And I just thought, okay, I can't do that. I cannot tell him how great he is and how much of a fan I am. And it's the same with job hunting. You cannot let that get in there. You have to just be like, you just have to say something about the weather or about some other event or whatever, and try to approach them that way. But if you're not meeting them in person and you're trying to approach them over, say, email or LinkedIn or what have you, you should go in through a contact. Your chances of getting a meeting with somebody really high level are pretty low, because they're busy and they're getting these they're just being assaulted with these types of requests constantly. There's no way you're going to get a meeting, so just don't even try. What I would say is go and look at all the points of connection you have with that person and work your connections, even if it's somebody who's like 5th degree from you. Brother of a father of the friend of a, coworker. That person can get you in faster than you can get in, even if you meet that person in person. It's just really hard. So I would say spend your time trying to get in that way. But more importantly, I would say try to reach somebody at the company who's lower down. Mm-hmm. If you really want a job there, that person, the high-level CEO type or whatever, top manager is not going to be necessarily the best person to approach. Mm-hmm. I once got a job by talking to a reporter at Business Week. We became friendly, and we started hanging out and going to the movies together. And one day she said, well, you're probably not interested in this job because you're a successful freelancer, and you probably don't want to come in from the cold now, do you? But there's a job opening at Business Week. I'd be happy to forward your resume along. Well, I would never have gotten a chance to work at Business Week. I was just a lowly freelancer working for like Journal of Business Strategies and whatever, and Crane's New York Business. I was doing little things. And she walked my resume over to the hiring manager. I got in to see that person. I impressed them as someone that they might like, and they hired me. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So, Laurel, to continue on that a little bit and to really get into the specifics, one of the things I've always admired about you is your demeanor over email. Like, it was one of the most impressive things to me when I got hired, because you're a writer, so you clearly have that verbal skill.
Oh, wait. We forgot one thing.
What did we forget?
Points for each thing.
Sorry. What did we forget?
About
Rewind.
About the mentor question.
Okay.
This is really yucky, it creates a power imbalance again. What will happen naturally is people will mentor you. You don't ask them to mentor you. It just happens. And how it happens is this. You get along, right? You have your first meeting. It's like a coffee. You ask for advice, or you ask them about their career or whatever. You do a kind of back and forth. What you have to realize is nobody wants to be a mentor, but it just occurs, right, over time. And the important thing is you have to have something to offer them too, right? Just because you're out of work, pathetic, whatever, don't have the skills, don't focus on that. Focus on the things you do have to offer. And they will become apparent as you talk to the person. Maybe they have something they're working on that needs promotion. Maybe you are connected or networked in, I use that word, but differently, networked into a group of people they need to reach. So there are many ways you can help people without realizing it. You just have to listen and be open. So the first step is getting the meeting, obviously, but get the meeting on the pretext of learning, right? Don't get a meeting on the pretext, or don't try to get a meeting because you won't get one. Don't try to get a meeting on the pretext of I don't need anything. I have something to offer and I have questions. That's what you get the meeting for. Okay.
It makes me think a lot about how age can play into this too. It's very awkward to seek out mentorship when you're not in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. But instead, I think it goes back to that idea that if you can offer something of value to the person you're asking for a meeting, I think that's the way to approach it.
Yeah, and you won't know until you meet with them what you have of value, but just think of it as something in your back pocket, that you are valuable, that you do have something valuable. You may not know what it is yet for them, but you are a valuable person. That's the whole power thing. You've got to go in with that confidence and knowing your value.
So part of the pathway in is often an email introduction. I wanted to talk a little bit more about connecting online, whether it's through social media or an old-fashioned email. But let's get into the specifics a little bit, because I think the way you handle email is unlike a lot of other people who handle email.
Yeah, it's good and bad. And it's
we should describe what that is. Maybe I can describe it, actually.
Well, yeah, one of the things you were going to do is number 6. But number 5, let's stay with number 5. So my email demeanor with friends and strangers alike is very personal. I opt for that tone because that's how I am, and it's very warm and insidery. I can't say that everybody should do that in every circumstance, but I do come across that way, and it has worked for me.
What's an example of warm and insidery for people who haven't had the benefit of getting an email from you? Like, I mean, I would describe it as being very casual, friendly. It's like a tone that you would take with a really good friend.
Yeah.
There's something very masterful about it.
Yes. Thank you. You just stole my punch. Those were the things I would say. Just friendly, warm, casual. Casual without misspellings, without walking over a line towards the person. You have to there's a very fine line. And what I like to do is I picture the other person reading the email. And I just strongly feel that you have to visualize in all of these things that we're talking about today. You really have to visualize your success. So I visualize my success when I'm doing anything, especially in email. I visualize the person that I'm reaching out to. Is it a young person? Is it a casual person? Is it an older person? Are they formal? What are they like? And I often will tweak and tailor my email depending on who it is. If I'm writing to an investor or for a job, I'm going to be a lot less casual. But if I'm writing to somebody just to have a meeting where I'm at their level, which is always the case, I'm always at your level, then I'm a little more casual because I don't want to indicate to them that I have need. You see? Sometimes when you write something formally to someone who's not expecting it or for no reason, they feel you need something and want something. So sometimes that casual is a way to kind of push them back on their heels and make them feel as if you are on the same level with them. So it is a fine line. I picture the person. With young people, it's probably much better to always default to the casual. With people in finance or, law or, professions that are a little bit stiffer, it's important to be a little more formal, but don't go all the way, but a little more formal. And let's see what else. The industry, the age of the person, and other factors. You have to consider all that and picture it all in your mind as they're opening the email.
So that reminds me of, I think I saw something in Gawker recently that described the media as one of the flirtiest industries, just in terms of tone and the casual nature of communication.
Really?
Yeah, it could have been Mediaite too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but so Laurel, speaking of that, they should have cited you in this example, because I remember a few years ago you sent out an email to your entire email contact list. Thousands of people, and this was for personal contacts, not Mediabistro's database.
Yeah.
But it was a note letting people know about something we were doing at Mediabistro, and it was addressed. It had the line like if you're getting this email, then you're either a friend, an ex-friend, someone I've slept with, or someone I've done business with.
Yeah.
And everyone, I mean, I remember in the office, we were all like, ooh, is she really going to do that? And then the response was amazing. People loved it.
Now, some people loved it. Some people were enemies of mine, and they did get it, and they were just like, get out of me. Get away from me. Don't ever write me again. Well, you do have to take risks sometimes. That was very risky. I can't advise that everybody take that risk, but this does bring up a point, which is the flirtiness of media. You don't have to follow through to flirt, right? I'm married, but I still flirt. My husband's cool with it. He knows it. I'm not going to do anything, but I do think flirting does help kind of grease the wheels of commerce, shall we say.
So you're referring to like a friendliness, a jokiness,
yeah.
It
was totally a joke, and everybody knew it. I mean, obviously, I didn't sleep with thousands of people, not that I know of. But it was a confident, bold move. Let's just say that.
Absolutely, and it paid off. It worked.
Yeah, it did work, but just be aware of the risks you're taking when you do a bold, confident move. You could get slapped down, so you have to be able to handle that pain and suffering if that happens. Luckily, I've been slapped down so much over the years that I'm immune.
So, Laurel, let's talk about social media. So much activity is happening online via social networks. We talked about it last week in session 3. What type of advice do you have for making personal connections via social media?
I'm very wary of making personal connections through social media, actually. I think it really depends on the age group of the person you're approaching and their level. I've noticed that a lot of people have started approaching me over Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And I get angry, actually. I really don't appreciate it. I feel it's demanding of me, something that I don't want to happen in these places. I don't consider these places to be places where I want a back and forth or a long exchange. I do all of my exchanges over email or the phone or in person. So for me, maybe it's my age group, I'm just not into being texted, tweeted, and Facebooked. I rarely check Facebook. Rarely. What I do is I use Twitter to kind of send messages into Facebook so people feel like I'm on Facebook a lot, but I'm really not. I check in once a week maybe. LinkedIn, I never check at all. So you have to look at the person you're approaching. How often are they really in that space? What are they doing in that space? Is that really their space for their warm, fuzzy family stuff? I mean, do you really want to introduce your questions about careers or industry or whatever to them in their warm, family, fuzzy space? No. So what I would do is find out their email address and email them if that seems appropriate. If it's a younger person, I would default to writing them in Facebook because it seems like the younger people are using Facebook for that purpose.
And on that, I feel like it's really easy to find out. You can see how engaged someone is on a given platform. It's clear.
And here's the other thing: when you're approaching somebody over one of these social networks, don't just approach them with a random request like, hey, let's get together, I see that you're blah, 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 What you should do is start to form a relationship with them in these various social networks. So it is an investment of time. It's an investment of energy, so you have to be targeted in who you want to get to know.